Hey guys, how's it going? It's BobbyKBikes here, and welcome to another BobbyKBikes video. Today, we're going to be showing you a bike that you've not seen before. This is a Thomas Luxus. It's a Dutch single-speed folding bike with coaster brakes, and I bought it in 2008 for £4. I was 14 years old at the time, and I used it to go to and from school and other places, and it's a cool little bike, and it's another one of these with a strange series of events. I actually knew the previous owner. She was a lady who was an elder at the church I went to, and she was also the sister of a teacher I had in primary school, so a really kind of small world kind of story. But she and her husband got two of these, I think she said it was certainly before 1975, it might have been 1973, she didn't remember the exact date, but they had an orange one and a black one. I don't know what happened to the orange one, but she handed this black one into the Scout Fair and I bought it. It had been in their shed for a long time, and the chrome on the wheels was shot. There were patches of nice chrome, but it was mostly all gone and just rusty exposed steel. Put a new set of tyres on because the tyres were perished. Just the tyres they sold in Asda for a tenner at the time. I think they were Cheng Shins. When I was about 15, I took the mudguards and chain guard off and just ran it around as it was, which gave it quite a cool, badass, stripped down sort of look. And unfortunately, disaster struck with this bike in about February 2010. I'd been riding it to and from school a lot in the winter, and somehow, I'm not sure if someone did this to prank me or if things had just come loose, but the frame actually opened, the folding bit folded. I didn't crash or anything because the hinge was probably so stiff that it didn't really fold, but because it was ever slightly open and apart, my weight caused the frame to ever so slightly bend, so we couldn't actually close it. So this bike's fate was kind of hanging in a balance for a while, and my neighbour, who's helped me with so many bike related things over the years, one absolutely freezing February day in 2010, my dad and I took the bike round to him, and we just spent quite a while sort of heating it up with a blow lamp, hitting it with a hammer, bending it, hitting it, heating it, setting it on fire, that kind of thing, until we could get the frame to close again. And then we tightened it all down. So it's a folding bike, but it doesn't fold. Don't expect it to fold. It's not a folding bike anymore. Then when I was about 17, I decided to do something about the rusty chrome on the wheels. I got a Dremel and sanded all the remaining chrome off, sanded down the rusty bits because the chrome was really too far gone on these wheels. I'll try and find some before pics. And then I brush painted them with red hammerite. Now about the same time, a neighbour had given me her daughter's old bike, which had bald tyres, and it was the same size of wheels as this bike. So I put the tyres that were on the Thomas onto that bike and sold it on Gumtree, then used the money I made from that sale, went to the bike shop, got these lovely white tyres. So because the bike's rusty, we've got the red wheels on white tyres, we've got the Maltese cross dust caps. We've really gone for a sort of old school rat rod kind of look. It looks pretty badass for a folding bike. So that's where it's at. I used it like that for a while, then disaster struck once again. I was riding home from school one day, I think I was in a bit of a mood, usual teenage angst, whatever, and I put the coaster brakes on, sort of jammed them on to try and pull a 6-skid, and the bracket for holding the coaster bit onto the frame just gave up, metal fatigue, it snapped. And also since that happened, there's been a horrible wobble in the rear wheel bearings. The hub on this back wheel is very complicated. There's nowhere that you can get a cone spanner on. I think we might need some tools that we don't actually have, so we may have to take it to the bike shop. On this side, there's nowhere that you can really get a cone nut onto, but there's a circlip in behind this little thing, and it looks like there would be some tool with 3 parts for getting onto there, so maybe it just needs some specialist tools. Look at it from this side, you can see There's quite a lot of play in the side, quite a lot of wobble. If you've got the spindle sitting straight in the rear dropouts, doesn't matter, the tyre will be rubbing the rear forks. Now, on this side, we've got our coaster brake bit, and while there's nowhere that looks like you could get a cone spanner onto it, there's a part here that looks like it may require some specialist tool. This has a notch in either side. Maybe there's a tool for getting into that. Anyway, I'll give you a little tour of the bike and show you everything in a bit more detail. On the front wheel we have caliper brakes, so I'm afraid to say that over the years braking has rubbed off some of the paint, but we actually left the chrome alone on the side of the rim, I'm pretty pleased to say, and that's actually, it's still protected and it actually looks pretty nice. As you can see, wasn't quite so refined at my brush painting, and we've got some paint on the spokes, but oh well. Both mudguards are going to need a little bit of attention, maybe a bit of polish, because I know the whole point of a rat bike is to look scruffy, but this just doesn't look too nice, so we'll maybe polish those up. We've got a nice head badge decal, but these decals, Tomos Luxus. Don't think reproductions are available for these, so whatever we end up doing to the bike, we're not going to touch the decals. I think you can maybe see here I've painted around the decals. I'd masked up the decals and just painted along there, a bit like we did to the stowaway. Chain ring, that's going to need a clean bottom bracket too. We're going to clean the chain, get it running all nicely. Got another nice decal here on the seat tube. And another nice quick release. The seat is a little bit scruffy but quite comfy, not too bad. It used to have one of these little things hanging from the back of the seat that you could put a few tools in, but I'm not sure where that is now. I think it was broken. Seat looks a little skew-whiff on the rails, so we might have to try and sort that out, straighten it a bit. We've got a nice spring-loaded shopping rack. I remember this being very handy on the school run. So, here are my long-term plans for this bike. I originally wanted to sell it because these short wheelbase folding shoppers are never right for me these days. I used to be able to ride them when I was sort of 13, 14, 15, but the height I am now, it just doesn't work. My dad said that he's always liked this bike, and I had it out of the shed a few days ago, and my dad sat on it, and he said that he could ride it no problem, because he's a couple of inches shorter than me. So, I'm going to fix it up and give it to my dad. Maybe clean it, I'll maybe leave it ratty, I'm not sure. There's already some bits where I've brush painted it with Hammerite a few years ago just to smarten it up, but if it's a rat bike it doesn't really need to be smart. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you like the bike. If you do, please like the video, follow me on Twitter, follow the Facebook page, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta, bye.